If I were to ask you now the question, are you aware? You may pause, and then you would answer, yes. What happens between the question, are you aware, and the answer, yes?
The only thing we know without a shadow of a doubt is that we are conscious. But at the same time, this is probably the most mysterious phenomenon in the universe.
Most people think that consciousness is something that we have, but consciousness is what we are.
Perception, cognition, everything that we call reality evolves in consciousness.
There cannot be any experience without there being consciousness.
It's not something to be discovered, but really recognized.
It is the one constant element or ever-present element that runs throughout all experience.
It can't be imagined, but it makes imagination possible.
It is not extraordinary, it is not unknown, it is intimate, obvious, and familiar.
It's the radiant heart alive on fire, knowing itself as that.
Mystics of all tradition have been describing consciousness as fundamental and universal, while science in the past century or so has been looking for a biological basis of consciousness without much success.
Science has ignored consciousness until now. And yet the great revelations of modern science, relativity, quantum theory, all point to consciousness being somehow very important.
To look at the brain as a source for consciousness is mistaking the map for the territory.
The whole of science takes place in consciousness.
The Buddha predicted the infinite divisibility of any atom, ancient time, thousands of years before quantum, and he also predicted the infinite divisibility of consciousness.
Science has ignored the problem of consciousness by calling it the hard problem. And this approach has led to the fragmented worldview we experience, with the political, social, and economical crisis we are facing today.
The understanding of consciousness is crucial if we have to heal a planet that has social injustice, extinction of species, mechanized death. If we do not understand the inseparability of all existence in consciousness, and if we do not imbibe it at a very gut level, then the great mystery may say the human species was an interesting experiment, it didn't work.
So that is actually the human opportunity, and the human job is to come to an understanding of the self. Even if you call that understanding the realization of selflessness.
Maybe it's time for science to accept the discoveries of the mystics and consider consciousness as a fundamental block of reality like mass, time, space, and energy.
So by including the very existence of consciousness in our thinking, we are coming to a much more complete view of the cosmos.
Understanding consciousness is the key to the universe, reality, and ourselves. And perhaps is the missing link to bridge science and spirituality.
If we want to know what is true or real about the mind, the body, or the world, we first have to know the nature of the knowing with which they are known. As William Blake said, as a man is, so he sees.
The world we perceive is made of consciousness. What we call matter is consciousness itself. Nisargadatta Maharaj.